Hello guys and gals, welcome to Mouse Gears. Today's video is kind of going to be our starter video for a lot of things. Open up about the truck I have. I've had it for a very long time. I started thinking about it today. I've had it for about 30 years now. Got it when I was 16, 45 now, so this coming year I'll have it for 30. My brother gave it to me. He was done driving it. He was building something else. I was getting my license. I've had it ever since. Truck's been through a lot of changes throughout the years, but it's something that I love, and I'll always keep it between him and I. Somebody will have it. And I'm going to turn around the video and start talking about it. So here is my 1978 Custom Deluxe, is what it started out from the factory. Pardon the mess. Like my truck, my garage is a work in process. Some days it's clean, some days it's I drop the tools where it is and come back tomorrow. Like I said, I've had this truck since I was 16. Some history on it. My grandfather, Daddy Doc is what we called him, my dad's dad bought this truck in the early 80s and used it for whatever, to go hunting in, pull his boat. Of course, did not look anything like this. I think if I remember the story right, my dad saying the motor was blown up in it when he bought it. I think the state owned it, or the city. He used to have a big indent on the roof. That's why that spot's been fixed a couple of times. My brother got it when he was in high school, and that was back when lower trucks and big speakers was a thing. And as a lot of y'all know, my brother and I got into racing because of my dad. And cars and the car show scene and hanging out with people. And I was lucky enough to win. Like I said, when I turned 16, it was my turn to have it, and I've had it ever since. I still have my Trans Am. It's at an off-site garage. Don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'm not planning on getting rid of it anytime soon. Maybe something will change in the future. But let's start why it's looking like it is right now. So 2021, 22, somewhere's in there, I decided I was going to change some things on the truck, and one was put fuel injection on it. And like I said, this truck was built in 78, and I had done a lot of stuff to it, as had my brother, and we tapped into the wires and everything. So I wanted to upgrade the fuse block to a modern blade style fuse, not a old glass style tube fuse. So I started taking it apart, and I pulled everything out of this thing, and it was no wires in it, no nothing. Pulled the seat out of it, excuse me, because it has a bent seat. Pulled the rubber mat out. Before all that was done, I had a friend of mine, Matt Selapak at Charleston Performance, put a 4L80E, actually it's a 4L85E from Chevrolet Performance, in it so I could have overdrive, so I could drive it around with my daughter and my wife and my dad. Just want to be able to have overdrive and not kill the engine with so many high RPMs. So when I got it home, I started wanting to do other things to it. So it started out with just going to be a rewire. Well, then, as I'll show you, I decided to do the inside of the truck. Actually, I'll go to the other side. I'll get to the engine bay in a moment. I decided, because this truck was a bare truck from Chevrolet. All it had was rubber floors and a vinyl seat. So I decided to go tan with everything. I did that once I had everything out of the truck. It was down to the floor and the metal dash. Everything else had been taken out. I put sound deadener on the floor, a Kaboom mat. It has, which I'm still working on, as you can see from some of the wiring on the inside, I put Dakota Digital from Square Body Syndicate. I put their gauges in it, so it looks like the original gauges, but it's 100% digital. Carpet on the floor, which I never had. Carpet on the back of the seat. A friend of mine, Jimmy Hayes, did this seat for me a long time ago, and I've always liked the pattern. So I left that, painted the black door panels brown dash pad. Have wood grain. The dash panel is wood grain. The bezel for the radio is all wood grain. Painted the door panels brown. Put the carpet at the bottom. Truck has never had door handles. My brother shaved those off a long time ago, and I still like the look. Has a remote that you use with door poppers, and it pops the doors open. It had centerline wheels on it forever, and I wanted to go back to as much of a factory look on this truck as we could. So I found a set of 15 by 8 original rally wheels for the front, and a set of 15 by 10s, which you really can't tell because the trim ring covers it up. These aren't the tires that are going to go on this vehicle. I just used them for right now for moving it around. I did take the back glass slider out and put a full glass window in. It's going to be a little dark back here, but I can go through it real quick. Left the fuel cell, put nitrous back on the truck just for fun. Got a whole fuel system for it. Part of the Holley Sniper kit. Let me get a... Hold on a second. Let me get a flashlight so you can see what all we've been doing. So this has been 3 years in the making for me. So as you can tell over here, we mounted the fuel pump, the fuel regulator, and the fuel filter all on the side to get it off the floor. To me, it looks a whole lot cleaner, and I can get to work on it if I have to. Change some things, just change the top of this and put a vent in. And I pretty much left the floor. My brother tubbed it years ago. Him and a friend of his did it, and we covered them up. Everything's got to be clean. It's just all dirty. Gonna get a new cover for it. Just get one that rolls up. Still has a 12 bolt underneath it. We took the 488 gears out when I was racing it, and put 373s in it just to drive it around. So the engine I borrowed from my brother. It came out of Camaro that my father had. That's the short block behind the trash can over there. It's a 402. Now I wanted something just to ride around in the street, put a little nitrous to it to have fun with it. So this is a GM, or what they call now Chevrolet Performance 383. I'll take the cover off the carburetor if I can reach it. There's the fuel. I should have said fuel injection. I'm still getting used to saying that. There's a Sniper fuel injection. It has their carburetor. Oh, shit, I did it again. Their EFI, their distributor. Inside on the floor on the passenger side, we kind of like to put all our stuff on the floor. I mounted the Sniper coil and the ignition box. One thing I left out. We put retro sound. It looks like the factory radio in this thing. Kicker speakers in the dash, kicker speakers in the kick well, and behind the seat with a 10-inch subwoofer. But back to the engine. Like I said, it's a 383 from GM Performance, aluminum head, fast burn heads. Catalog says at the flywheel it makes 450, I think, 460. Knowing GM, the timing was retarded 2 or 3 degrees. And I think that's just their way of trying to protect the engine. After talking to Jeff Taylor, who built the 305 for the Trans Am, which is now in the Camaro, talking to him with what the cam profile is, which was hard to get from GM. They didn't want to give it to me for some reason. I don't understand why. We did turn around and advance the cam. I want to say it was 4 degrees. So it's got a little more low-end torque. I did swap out the GM transmission computer for the Holley. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it look as clean as I can, and with the room that we have. So everything goes through the Sniper and the STC through the handheld. I've been having some problems with the handheld because I have too much stuff being hooked to the CAN bus. But doing some research, I can unhook the STC for the transmission. I don't have to have the handheld for it. I can plug the BMI module in for the gauges that runs the speedometer. It's a GPS speedometer. When I had the engine out, my girls helped me, my wife Julie and my daughter Haley. We cleaned the frame and repainted it, put all new bolts in the engine mount brackets. We went with solid motor mounts because the factory mounts are just garbage. They break real easy. with any type of torque. While I had it out, put a new master cylinder and new brake lines. Just a square body syndicate column with a Borgnison, I think is the name of it, steering shaft. Put frostbite, Holley, fan, and radiator in it. Went a different route with the upper fan core support. Trying something new. If you look here, I got these relays. If I ever had AC, this relay will hook up to the AC, but mounted the painless coolant temp sensor for the fans. I don't have to turn anything on. It automatically cuts on by itself. So I'm not used to that. I'm used to flipping a switch and watching the fans come on. So that's going to be something to get used to. Also went with the GM Performance belt drive kit. It's really easy to order the stuff from GM when you work for a Chevrolet dealer. You know it's good stuff and it's going to work great. And if you got any problems, you can contact them. Had to swap the alternator out for a PowerMaster, which wasn't that big a deal. Just had to change the location of the one-wire alternator port on the back. Made it so much easier than having to wire up a connector. I just got a PowerMaster for the same amperage and just ran the wire down to the starter and it's all hooked up. My dad and my brother came over the other day and they helped me make sure we didn't let any of the smoke out of the wires, as we say, when we hook things up. And here's another view of the radio. It looks like a factory radio from 1978, which is pretty cool. Next, we'll have to get it painted. I bought all the moldings to add the body side moldings. We're not going to two-tone it. We're just going to paint it back all brown and put the moldings on it. I think it'll look real good. Got the tailgate molding for the middle. It'll have a polished piece. I put the grill in. The emblem is supposed to go on the outside. I didn't like it, so my dad and I recessed the emblem into the grill, which I think looks a whole lot better. I painted this black. I want it to look a little different. I think it gets lost, and when they get beat up a little bit driving them, so that filler I painted black, so it kind of blends in with the bumper and the grill. It kind of disappears a little bit. The hood's right here. It's got it upside down. We had to do some work on it. It's a fiberglass cowl hood from Hardwood, who's not in business anymore. I think my brother put that on in the probably middle 90s. So that's an older hood, but it still looks real good on the truck when it's on there. All the lines are black Earls lines with mostly black fittings. I wanted to go that route from the transmission cooler lines, as you can see, to the fuel lines. Even the lines in the back are mostly black lines with black fittings. I think that's a whole lot cleaner. Once I get everything done, I got some cleanup to do with the wiring and zip tying some stuff off and making it look a whole lot cleaner. This mess right here is just killing me right now, but I know it's a work in process and we'll get it. Went with CVF hood hinges, as you can see right here. This one's closer. They use this little strut. It had a hood prop on it before, and it broke the engine bay up, and you really couldn't see a lot. So I went with those. Got black ones. They're easy to keep clean. Had to get different struts because the ones that came with it said they were for a fiberglass hood, but man, were they strong. I think it would break the hood. And the way you adjust them is pretty cool. It's got these wedges that you put in, you slide in the hood, and then you'll do this adjustment to line up the sides and the back. So that'll be fun to do on the first go around. But I just want to take a bit at my buddy Tater that I do a Disney podcast with on Tuesdays. Really been pushing me to put a video out about the truck. We've always called it the brown truck in my family because it's just the color it is. It's the different shade than what the original brown was. It's got like a little root beer, root beer or chocolate color to it. I do have, I don't know what I did with them. I'm going to be upset with myself if I can't find them. I have emblems that look like the factory emblems that go on the side. And if I can find them, I'll add it to the end of this video. As a lot of y'all know, I go to Disney World a lot. It's one of my favorite places to go. Take my family, we have a good time. And I love the country bears. I love anything bears. I get that from my dad. My brother, my dad, and I all have necklaces that are bears. Holding, it's like a father bear holding a baby bear. And on our race logo, it's a bear next to a Christmas tree. Bears have just been a part of our life. We just, I've always liked them. I get it from my dad, like I said. So, Big Al in the Country Bear Jamboree has always been one of my favorites. My youngest daughter despises the ride, likes it now since they redid it. But I have a Big Al stuffed animal that I'll sit on the air cleaner. I go to car shows and stuff. But another person that entered my life, golly, 18 years ago now, I believe, 17 years ago, was my father-in-law, Al Wood. And we would talk to my in-laws, so they lived in St. Louis at the time, on Sundays. That was our deal. We'd always talk to them. And every time I would talk to him, he'd ask me, how am I doing with my Trans Am? And he'd watch me race on the internet. He'd watch the races and we'd talk about it. And he always asked me about my truck. And one summer, he came down when Haley was young and watched her one summer. And I worked on a truck outside the other house we owned. And he would come out there and sit and we would talk. And he would talk about racing when he was young. And he enjoyed it. So we lost him in 2020. And so I always have my grandfather's memory, both my grandfathers, because my other grandfather was a mechanic. Both my grandfathers were in the Navy. I don't think if it wasn't for my mom's dad, Pop, I don't think any of us would have been in the car business or be as love as cars we are. Because when he got out of the Navy, he went to vocational school to be a mechanic. And my dad ended up being a mechanic and for a little bit, and then he was a parts manager like I am now. Ended up being a service manager. My brother was in the car business. At one time, I think about all of my mom's family all worked at one dealership. So the automobile world has been in my family for a long time. So I have that connection with my grandfather, and I can remember my brother and my grandfather and I riding around in his truck. And then my dad's dad that owned the truck. This is all I have of his. I'll put pictures of both my grandfathers at the end of this. But this is all I have of his memory. I'm coming up with a decal, some type of tooth to put on the back window that only myself, my dad, my family will understand. And if somebody asks me about it, I can tell my grandfather's legacy. I've got an anchor I'm gonna hang off the rearview mirror that I found at my grandfather's shop, my Pop, out of his workshop. I'm gonna hang from the rearview mirror. But the Big Al, that's my Disney connection, and my father-in-law. So there's a lot of people when I drive this truck that I carry their memory with me. And it's something that, my daughters want to go with me to car shows, and my oldest wants to drive it. She's more than welcome to drive it too. Haley, she's starting to get into cars and stuff. But I have my Disney connection, which I share. I'm going to start sharing more of on my channel, Mouse Gears, on YouTube, as you know, because you're there now. But my buddy Tater, appreciate him pushing me to put this video out. I'll put a link to his website, But Mostly Disney. That's a podcast that he started, and I kind of said, hey, you want to co-host? Because you look like you're struggling a little bit. And he was like, yes, please. So we try to do it on Tuesday nights at 7:30, and the truck has come up in conversations, our families, just anything that we talk about. We talk about Disney and we talk about our families and things that interest us. I'll throw a golf video to here sometimes. When we start showing the truck, I'll start showing different car shows and stuff, things to update on the truck. We get it running, I'll post a run video on that. I've got a GoPro, so I want to mount it different places on the truck and just showcase it. But people ask me what I do for fun. I love spending time with my family. I love going to Disney World with my family. And I love this truck right here. It's been a part of my life, like I said, for 30 years. And it can continue to be a part of our family from going forward. And look for more updates. And I appreciate you stopping by. Have a great day. Like I said, check out But Mostly Disney. Let me try that again. Check out But Mostly Disney Tuesday night, 7:30. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube. He's on all the socials. Kind of ride his coattails, and both of us kind of ride Lou Mangello at WW Radio. We kind of ride his coattails a little bit. He's one that kind of pushed us to do things, and we're in a group with him, and very positive. We try to choose the good in everything we do. So thanks for stopping by, and have a great day and have a great week.